Hello, everybody. Hope you are doing well. So you've made it through your first week of English 111. Congratulations. So just like, 13 or 14 more to go. No big deal, right? So I've enjoyed speaking with many of you who have come into virtual office hours or set up an appointment with me. Remember that you are required to have a virtual meeting with me by this coming Thursday. So if you haven't done that yet, please drop into office hours or email me to set up an appointment. The times will probably get pretty tight as we approach Thursday, so I would really encourage you to do that sooner rather than later. So I have returned all of the ad uploads or returned feedback on all of the ad uploads and have responded to all of the checkpoints. All I'm working on right now are journals, and those will take a little while, so please be patient with me. I've got 48 students taking this version of 111, so it's going to take me a little while to get through all of that. So a few things to talk about from checkpoints and from conversations that I've had this week. First of all, some people have talked about the noon deadline being problematic. So work would typically be due at midnight. I'm just giving you a little cushion to the next day for when I'll actually start grading it. I encourage you to treat this class as having a midnight Wednesday deadline, even though I'm letting you have that cushion on Thursday. You don't have to turn in your work at the deadline, and I encourage you to turn it in early. I do grade work typically in the order it's received. For example, I know some of you are going to turn in stage 1 of your ad evaluation like that. Those are going to get graded before the ones that come in at the deadline. So for those of you who like to work ahead or feel that you need a little bit more time on your work, I really encourage you to go ahead and get started early. As many of you saw, this class is not designed for you to come in and do all of your work in one sitting right before it's due. We are a writing class. There's going to be reading. There's going to be work that you have to do to get ready for the work that you turn in. Some folks asked why we're reading things that I'm not giving you a quiz on. That is because you need to know the information. In college, we give you work that you need to read, that you need to understand in order to prepare you for what's coming next. So if there's a reading but not a quiz that goes with it, you shouldn't blow it off. That reading is there for you to do, and it's understood that you're going to do it and take that information with you. I also strongly recommend that you work in little pieces, even when you don't feel like it. I know it can be really hard when you come in and when you look at the big to-do list at the beginning of the week and you might think, this is so much. I'll come back to this when I have more energy. Momentum is going to get you a lot farther than motivation ever did. If you have a little bit of momentum building, it's a lot easier to keep going, and that will take you a lot further than waiting to feel like doing something, because we have to do stuff even when we don't feel like it. So I do encourage you to get in every day or every other day. Block out time on your calendar, set up a time that you're going to work. I'm going to do a separate video about time management and some study strategies, but I really recommend using Google Calendar or whatever electronic calendar you use that can send you reminders to your phone, to your email, or if you're me, to your phone, your email, and your watch, because I get into the zone and sometimes I need an alarm to tell me to go to class. Sometimes I need an alarm to tell me to turn them on this hour. And there's no shame in that. Just use the tools that you have at hand. But that will be information for another video. So I want to start off by talking a little bit about mother tongue that we read last week. I heard a lot of positive reactions from you all and checkpoints in meetings to that. I wanted you to read that for a couple of reasons. And I would normally have you do a response to it, but we have so much work to do in this first couple of weeks of class, just the way it's laid out, that I didn't want to give you more writing to do this week when you already have your ad description that you'll be working on. So I want you to read this for a variety of reasons. First of all, I know a lot of people come into English classes with some anxiety, whether that a lot of people have said, oh, I have bad grammar, oh, my writing's not good. Well, it's an English class. If everything was good, we wouldn't need the class, right? I also want you to understand that I am not judging you when I grade your work. When I give you feedback on an assignment, when I say, hey, this is a run-on sentence, that's not a value judgment on you. That's me saying, hey, Standard English says we should do our sentences like this. Let's fix this, okay? The way that people communicate is part of who they are, right? You all are probably familiar with the concept of dialect, which is that within a language, we have all these variations on that language. Now, the common understanding is that we have a certain way of writing in academia. I can't even say the word. Maybe I shouldn't be teaching a class. Academia. We have a certain way of writing, right? We use standard English. Now, standard English means that we are writing with a particular set of conventions, right? We are avoiding run-on sentences. We are avoiding sentence fragments. We are avoiding slang. In some cases, we might be avoiding contractions, right? Now, none of us actually speak that way. We make mistakes when we speak, and we also treat spoken English a bit differently. You can say things that don't draw attention the way they would if you were writing them out, right? So, your dialect, everybody speaks dialect. If you speak standard English, please choose another class because you're going to be sorely disappointed in your English teacher. But everybody uses a dialect. We all speak a certain way, and this is impacted by a variety of factors. It's impacted by where we grew up, who our family is and where they're from, where we went to school. It can be impacted by all sorts of cultural factors. All sorts of things go into it. And I'm not here to change how you speak. That's part of who you are. But what I am here to do is to help you use that standard English when you need to. And you see in this work from Amy Tan that her mother got treated really poorly based on the way she talked. And that's wrong, and it's awful, and it's infuriating. However, people judge us based on the way that we speak. They judge us based on the way that we write. And we can't necessarily stop that. So one of the things we have to do is have that really good college admissions essay. We have to have that flawless resume. We have to be able to flip the switch and communicate the way that we need to when we need to. And a lot of you do this already without even knowing it. You may have heard the term code switching, which refers to how we change our communication based on the situation we're in. We speak differently to our friends than we do to our boss, than we do to our parents, than we do to our teachers. In most cases. And often we do this without thinking about it. Now, there are some times that you think about it. If you're about to give a speech, if you're about to give a presentation in class, if you are walking into a job interview, you're thinking about it. But when you pick up the phone to talk to your friend, but then you cover it up to say something to your mom, and you're saying these things in different ways, it's probably not even perceptible. So we'll be talking about paying more attention to that. But I want you to know that wherever you are, coming into this classroom is okay, and we're going to work to get you to the place that you want to be. In the journals, I asked you to set goals for yourself, and you all have different goals. Some students are coming in and going, oh, I need to work on my sentence structure. I need to work on my organization. I don't know how to make a thesis statement. We need to fix that. I've got some students who are like, I can write essays, but I want to make them sound better. I want to work on flow. I want to work on X, Y, and Z. And that's fine. Wherever you are, there's something for you in this class. Okay, so don't be overwhelmed. And also, if you are already writing at a high level, don't come in and think there's nothing for me to do here. There's something for everyone. I promise you that. So, let me, I was going to talk about sentence structure in this video, but I have so much to cover that I think that should be a separate video too. So it might be a multiple video week. I don't want to burn out your attention span. So let's talk about the first writing assignment. You all chose ads last week, and I've responded to those. Please check your feedback. If you do not have a 100 on that ad assignment, you really need to check your feedback, okay? If you did not choose an ad that works for this, then you're not going to be able to move on to the next stage. So it's super important that you check that feedback, and that if there are problems, we address them now. So this ad evaluation assignment, you can see it here in week 2, is broken down into parts. The first part was getting your ad and getting that approved. The next part is stage 1, which is a description of the ad. Now, the reason we're doing this is that often getting started with writing is the hardest part. All right. I have a lot of students who will sit and stare at the empty page and say, I just can't get started. And they are typically trying to write their introduction when they say that. They're typically trying to form a thesis statement when they say that. But here's the thing. We can't introduce something until we know what it is. So if we don't have anything drafted for the middle of the paper, and we don't know what we're going to say, an introduction is going to be hard. So we are doing what I call writing from the inside out. We are starting with the body content of this essay we're writing, and then we will worry about our introduction, our thesis statement, and our conclusion, okay? Those are the hard parts of writing. Let's start with the easy stuff. So overall, the ad evaluation assignment is asking you to describe, analyze, and evaluate an ad that you chose from a magazine. So the first step is going to be description. Don't worry about the other stuff right now. Just worry about the description. For all of you who have writing anxiety, this is me telling you, focus on this one paragraph. You're going to write your description. You're going to turn it in. I'm going to give you feedback. You'll adjust it, and then we'll move on to the next piece of the assignment. Now, we are doing this little one piece at a time kind of assignment to help you all get started. I know for some of you this is simple. I know for some of you this is going to help you a lot. Okay, so just roll with it. So for your description, make sure you focus on describing the ad. You're not describing the magazine. You're not describing the product. You're describing that picture in front of you. Imagine that you're telling me what it looks like and I don't have it in front of me. Now, to do that, you're going to need to use very precise language to describe the details. Don't tell me there's a person in the ad. Is it a celebrity? Who is it? Can you describe what that person looks like to me? If you're looking at, say, a makeup advertisement and it's you say, oh, well, it's a close-up of a face. Whose face? What does that face look like? What is getting our attention in this ad? If you have an ad with a slogan, a logo, you need to describe that. You need to describe the background. If it's just a color, a plain color, tell me that. If it is set in a city, tell me that and tell me how you know it's set in the city. What do you see that shows you that? Describe the layout of the ad. Layout matters. I talked about this, I think, in the video where I helped you a little bit with choosing ads. So is there something really prominent up front, prominent at the top, prominent at the bottom? Describe where the parts of the ad are. If you have text, if you have a short slogan or a catchphrase, you can put that in quotation marks in your description. If you have a lot of text, if you chose something like a pharmaceutical ad, there's going to be a lot of text. Please do not reproduce that text. You can just tell us that, half the page is taken up with information about the ingredients and the side effects and precautions and other important information. Hey, your ad doesn't have text. Fine. Tell us that. So some of you have ads that have a lot to describe. Some of you have really straightforward ads that don't have much in them. That's okay. All right. That just means that some of you may have more description work to do up front or less, and that's okay. Now, organize your ad description carefully. It may make sense to organize it spatially, starting from top to bottom, from left to right, from kind of the foreground to the background, or the opposite of that. Maybe you describe the background and then the thing that all the attention is on. That's okay. But make sure you're consistent. If I were, for instance, describing my really messy office to you, and I said, well, when you come in the door, you see a filing cabinet over here on the wall, and then you look up and you see pretty ugly tiles, and then if you look over here, you see a cinder block wall, and then back over there is a clock, and then back over here is a bookcase, and then if we go back over here to this wall, there's a really big counter. You can't keep up with that. You can't build the picture in your mind, right? Because I'm jumping around all over the place. So pick a place that's logical to start and decide how you're going to organize your description. Now, you may say, well, that is all well and good, but I don't know how to get started on my description. So to that, I say, just start with some bullet points. What do you need to talk about in this ad? And you can just start with whatever gets your attention and just jot down some notes. Then turn each of those little jotted down lines into a sentence and then connect those sentences together. So don't stress out. This is a low stakes writing assignment. You're going to get feedback on this, but also please keep in mind you can't move on to the next stage until you've gotten your feedback on stage 1. So those of you who feel like you need more time, those of you who feel like you tend to procrastinate, go ahead and get it done. Go ahead and get it in. I'm going to be checking into the Grade Center every day and returning those stage 1s. I see one of you has already turned it in, and I'm going to do my best to get it back to you today so that you can move on. Please don't wait. And the assignment is set up so that you can't do the next part until you've gotten satisfactory progress on the first part. So make sure you do that. Another thing that I wanted to mention, since we're doing this kind of one piece at a time writing, go ahead, start a new Word document, make sure it's formatted for MLA, whether you're using a template or you're setting it up with the instructions I gave you. Put your ad description in that document. Then, when you get your feedback, work in the same document and then add your analysis right underneath it. So we'll just keep building your paper in this one document. So I know I still need to talk to you about sentence structure. I know I still need to talk to you about what else? Oh yeah, I need to talk to you about some time management and study skills, but that will be another video because it's got really long. So if you need help or have questions, of course, please get in touch. Be on the lookout for more videos coming over the course of the week. I will send out an announcement when I post a video to get your attention and get you into the course. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope everything's going well for you, and I hope to see many of you in the virtual office next week.